There are 24 hours in a day, but most people only ride for 12 of those. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they're scared of the night, maybe it's because they don't have the right lights. But in this video, I will be exploring what you need to start night riding, to have fun like this, and how expensive it will be, and what I recommend to begin night riding. Some misconceptions about night riding is it's more dangerous, and yes, it can be if you have the incorrect gear, but with the right gear, it can be equally as safe as daytime riding and a lot more fun. You should at least have 400 lumens of Shredlights and rear tail lights. I have 1600 and 2 tail lights. I would also recommend using some reflective pads. I got mine from Alien Rides. You can also get them from Nobleman. I have a reflective jacket. You could also get a standard construction jacket. I have reflective gloves so people can see my hands and just make me a little bit more apparent in the night. I would definitely recommend riding with all of these. It makes you a lot more visible, especially the reflectors. When you're in cars' lights, it can be a little bit blinding if you have just lights on you. But with the reflectors, it gives more of a neutral brightness that makes it easier for you to be visible from cars, and it makes it just a little bit safer when you're out there at night. Shredlights are my favorite lights because of their compatibility to electric skateboards and other PEVs, and also their brightness. They've been working hard to come out with a magnetic mount that clips onto any board using a sticky mounting system, but can also clip off and clip on in seconds to any electric skateboard or any other PEV you have. To start, you want to mount one of the sticky mounts onto any point on your electric vehicle. Then you can just stick on the Shredlight to the mount, and boom, you have a fully working system. I have one connected to the back of my board. I also have one connected to my EV charging adapter just so I can get some light like that. There's tons of different cool things you can play around with, like I mounted it to the back of my SL1000 light so I can dual mount on the helmet, and that was pretty cool. It didn't work the best, but there were tons of fun things you could use to play around with this. I see a lot of people mount it on one wheels, which seemed really cool, and it's really compatible like that since the one wheel has a flat base plate, unlike the electric skateboarding, which normally has a slightly curved base plate apart from at the front like where I mounted it. The magnetic mount would work very well for EUCs because EUCs tend to have a lot of flat space to work with. For my testing, they do not work with helmets because the helmet does not have enough flat space for it to mount on, and the metal is non-malleable. Maybe in future versions of this we will be able to see some malleable metal, but at the moment that is currently not available on the beta version. It is also a pretty good idea to get these lights if you ride in the morning or deep fog like this. It can make it a lot easier for you to be seen. Similar to how bikes use the rear flashing lights, it can make it a lot safer and can make cars see you a lot easier. The flashing lights will gain attention. You can also have flashing lights for the front of your board if you want sort of like a strobe light effect. Night riding is a ton of fun, but it's not cheap. My entire setup comes out to around $700. My setup is a little overkill. I have a lot of lights. I have over 6 Shredlights set up on my setup at once. I also have really expensive knee pads and elbow pads, with those coming in at around 320 bucks. Also, my vest and gloves were not the cheapest, and you could definitely find cheaper options. I would say you could start night riding comfortably for around 200 bucks. That's if you get this full Shredlight setup and you get a little reflective tape to put around you and your board. Maybe some RGB lights as well. I see the Shredlight RGB lights are really effective at showing other drivers and other riders where you are. So even though it's not cheap, it's definitely some of the most fun that I have riding. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video, and make sure you subscribe.